Alright, so for my presentation, I did it on remote controllers and the signal that they send to the cable box. So how a remote controller works, there is a plastic screen on the front of the remote with a light. Every time a button is pressed, that light sends a signal to a cable box. So to get into more detail, for example, if you took the remote, pressed like volume down on the remote, it would then complete a circuit in the remote, sending it to the light, which then sends an impulse of light beams to the cable box. The impulse of light beams is infrared radiation. It's in the LED light that sends a pulse to the cable box. The pulse is usually read in binary, which is like consistent. It's like coding for like zero, made up of zeros and ones. It's 8 digits long. And that's how the cable box reads that. Inside the cable box there's also a plastic screen. That plastic screen has a material that can detect infrared radiation, and that material picks up the pulse of light and reads that in binary to complete the task. If the burst is not the same frequency, it won't pick it up, or if the code is invalid, it won't pick it up. So it only picks it up off a certain remote. You can get other remotes that also send signals to cable boxes, because those remotes are able to send the impulse of, send the pulse of the infrared radiation waves to the cable box to complete the task. The remotes that send the infrared radiation usually need to be a point and very close, where it has complete contact, nothing blocking it. It can usually go through little things, but you usually need to be in the same room. They can function maybe about 30 feet from where the cable box is, maybe 20 feet, depending on how strong the remote is. So yeah, that's basically it. When the button is pressed, it then completes the circuit in the remote, which then sends a signal to the LED light on the top of the remote, which then sends a burst pulse of infrared radiation lights to the receiver, usually the cable box, which also has a plastic screen with a material that can detect it. And then when the materials hit with the infrared rays, it could pick up the the burst of light and read it in binary code, which is of course zeros and ones, and then it will send that to the processor, which then sends it to the TV, and that's how the remote works. Alright, so I have a remote right here. You can see on the top of the remote there's a plastic screen where the LED light sits, and that's where it sends the pulses of infrared radiation through the air to the cable box. And then over here we have the is where the infrared detector sits, and that's what picks up the infrared radiation through the air. And then for also the DVD player right here, you can see a little bit that picks up the infrared radiation. So that's basically it.